Sup guys, it's Dimes and welcome back to my channel. Now if you haven't seen my channel before, hi, hello, I'm Dimes. I'm from Australia. I like to make stuff in The Sims, very obviously, as that's what we're doing today. And in particular today I'm going to be making a seasons inspired build. This is the third in my seasonal series, and today's going to be a spring cottage. Very intriguing. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, let's do this. And gonna start off obviously with a basic frame. Now while I do use references, sometimes I wing. Actually, let's be honest, most of the times I just wing it, and sometimes it works out for me, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it makes quite a simplistic kind of build, sometimes I am a little bit more ambitious. This time, because this is quite a small build, there's only so much you can really do with it, so it's not overly complicated. But I did want to take advantage of the transparent roofs that come with Sims 4 Seasons, and they are pretty spiffy. Like, this little greenhouse is looking very cute. It's basically the cornerstone of the house. Now, it's tiny. It's like 2 by 8, I believe. 2, 4, 6, 2 by 6. I can't remember how big that window is, if it's a 2 window or a 3 window. I think it's 2 by 6, which is pretty small in this game, like a very small greenhouse. But extending, because it's limited by the size of the windows, like, I didn't want to extend it out an extra 2, and I didn't want to extend it like lengthways an extra 2 either, so it is what it is. And I feel like it's pretty cute the way it is. I extended the house out there, but then I preferred to have the side of the house right next to the greenhouse. Oh, and this part is sped up a bit because while I usually don't plan the layout beforehand of the interior, because the house is so small, I wanted to be sure that I had room for everything I wanted, so I did plan the interior a bit, you know, just to make sure I had room for everything before I kept going with the exterior. So yeah, dropping some columns to give the exterior a little bit of character. And you'll see me using these windows, and I use them because they're cheap. Now, the reason I did this is because I originally was going to try to make this a starter house. I thought a starter spring cottage with a tiny little greenhouse. Hey, I got a download. Thanks, guy. A starter spring cottage would have been awesome, which is the same reason why I'm using those pine trees there. They're the pine trees that came in the vampire pack, and they're $1 for some reason. I'm not sure if, I believe somebody has forgotten to set the legit price for them. But we don't mind, because it makes it easy to, you know, make starter stuff with $1 trees. But again, while I was doing that, I quickly gave up on the idea of making this a starter home. Namely because it's a spring cottage, which means that I have to use a lot of flowers, plants, trees, and the flowers, plants, and trees cost a fortune, and they add to the price of the build. You pay from 40 to something like $200 for trees. The cheapest tree, apart from the pine tree that I got rid of, is, I believe, $30. So it adds up really quickly, and the amount of flowers and plants I had to use on this build, I realized that it just was not feasible for me to make this a starter build. So it's not a starter build, unfortunately. Maybe eventually I'll be able to make a little greenhouse starter build. Just plants are prohibitively expensive in the game. I guess in real life, I mean, plants can be really expensive in real life too, so it doesn't... especially fully fledged trees. So yeah, to make it look very cute, I scrapped the idea of a starter, and I got rid of the pine trees, which didn't really go with the theme of the neighborhood anyways, or the house itself. And so yeah, playing with roof textures now. Roof textures are very hard for me to decide on, and the reason you see me going into the gallery so much is basically so I get a front view of the house, and it gives me a better idea. It snaps to the front and gives me an idea of if I feel that things are working together or not. Now, Doesn't always work, but it is a pretty good indication. And it is what like people will see when they download it, unless you swap the graphic out, which you can do that with an add-on, I believe. Yeah, trying to place a chimney flue. Now, again, I wanted to see if you could see it from the front, and I didn't know what room to put the chimney in, because I didn't want just a mystery like chimney that just went to nowhere. I wanted to actually add a chimney in the game, in the house itself. So I wasn't sure where to put the chimney, what room, and ultimately I decided to put it in the bedroom. I added that little nook. I thought it looked particularly cute, but then I felt like it didn't add anything to the build, so I took it out. And I felt like the house needed something there, like, because I've picked higher, walls so that I could put the greenhouse windows on, because the greenhouse windows, which come from Get to Work, very nice windows, they need a higher build to work. So yeah. Now a lot of this I have to place with move objects on. So to now doing some terrain texture. I both love and hate doing this part. On the one hand, like, it's super satisfying to watch it really fast. On the other hand, it's really boring to do when you're in the moment. Again, I have to place all this stuff with move objects because a lot of it is me overlapping things over each other. And there is a drawback when you build this way, that sometimes when you delete something, it will delete a whole chunk of stuff if they're all interconnected like that. The other thing is that until you actually play the build in build mode, you don't know whether or not the stuff will stay. So some of the stuff that you see here, like for example on the left hand side I've got bougainvillea from the Jungle Adventure pack. It's the two little white flowery blobs on the left of the greenhouse. I believe I have to get rid of some of those because I've overlapped them onto each other and they don't want to stay there when I start building other things around it. I really like that plant and I really wanted to use it, so I put it straight in the greenhouse, even though I tend to not usually do the interior until the end. And of course, if you haven't seen my other videos, this is a two-parter. I'm a very, very slow builder, okay? I'm not ashamed of that. I'm going to admit it. I'm going to be proud of it. It takes me forever to do stuff. It's just me. I envy the builders that just like whip it out. Well, you know, not like that. That sounds bad. Whip builds out one after the other and they make them look amazing. I can't do that. I'm a mere mortal. I don't know how they do it, honestly. It takes me quite a while to do. So here I was considering adding some steps. Ultimately I feel like it doesn't really add anything to the house, so I take them off. But there is a glitch, or there was a glitch, I believe they fixed it now, where even if you see how the house has got a little lip around the bottom, that's like the level 1 foundation, and the Sims used to be able to just walk in very easily with that, and then it glitched out and the Sims were like, I can't get in the house, you know, there's no step there, and you had to add a step. And so it was glitched at the time I made this, so I did add a step at the end, so there will be a tiny little step both at the back door and the front door. But you don't need them. You can delete them if you want now, because they did fix that glitch and the Sim will now step into the house even though it's got a tiny foundation there. So yeah, the other thing is, obviously, as I was saying, some of the vines and things will start disappearing and stuff. Again, that's because of the way move objects on works. You need move objects on to sometimes use the things and see them properly. If you don't have it on, sometimes then they will glitch out. Sometimes even with it on, it will glitch out. Again, I tend to always play test my builds, so all of that stuff should be fixed by the end of this video. And if it's in the gallery, there shouldn't be many bugs with the game, with the build rather. There is many bugs with the game, let's be honest. So continuing the theme, I actually went for a varied amount of flower colors. The reason I did this is because I kind of was inspired by the pictures of English cottages, which I looked up, and English gardens, and they don't tend to just follow one color theme necessarily. They tend to have a lot of flowers, and the flowers are all quite different colored. So I didn't just want to use white or just yellow. I wanted to use a little bit of every color, and eventually I go back and add some more colors and change things around. Now doing the back garden, I wanted to do a tiny little patio, because the reason I did this little area or garden area is because I was actually inspired. There's a tea set in the game which looks amazing. It's like a fancy tea set, and I just really wanted to use it in the back garden. In fact, here I am. I'm starting to put the little chairs out so I can add the tea set. I'm not sure when I add that, but I have it in mind already, guys. It's already starting to come together very quickly. I mean, it is 900 speed, and it took me much longer to do it in real life, but I like to place trees at the back of the house, almost like you're framing the house itself. And so I quite like to give the house pretty nice curb appeal, and I feel like really tall trees in the back help that. And it helps if you have a nice lot where there's actually nice trees in the back already, like in this one. Some of them don't, and you kind of have to like add your own kind of tall tree look at the back. I did that a little bit. I really struggled with the trees on the front of the property. Now, I always like to have at least one tree at the front of the property, and maybe some bushes and things. This took me forever because I had to resize all the rocks down. And it was painful, and I did not like it. Yeah, halfway through, I was like, should I even keep going? I did keep a couple of the rocks bigger because just to add that kind of difference in texture, but halfway through I was like, should I just keep going with this little bird bath or just give up? I kept going, obviously. I didn't know how to fill it in, so I stopped. So I just gave up, and I don't think I filled it in the end. Not that you don't necessarily need to fill in every single space with trees and flowers. I mean, you can, but you don't need to. So with the addition of the hedges on the side, kind of adding a more formal vibe to the place. Now landscaping the front of the house as well. There I had I wasn't sure about the window I was going to use. Here I was deciding on what I wanted to do with the greenhouse. I was debating whether to make the greenhouse just an open area and having like the dining table kind of being inside, partly inside the greenhouse, kind of like a conservatory. And then I was debating if I should just have it as its own room and just put like plants there and things like that. But ultimately I made it its own room and I put plants in there. I think eventually I will make a house where I have like a little conservatory like that, and just put a little dining table there. Will be very cute. Coming together pretty nicely. Where are we at? We're only at halfway of this video, pretty much. So obviously I do a lot of like minute details at this point. So I apologize in advance if watching me landscape is boring. It's not too bad. It does take, gardens take forever. I don't know, again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just slow at building. I suppose we could be faster. I guess there is a kind of like deliberateness at which I pick stuff and put stuff in that, well, hopefully it's good to watch. But I have to say I really, really like this build. I guess sometimes I'll start off a build and it's like, oh, you know, it's nice, like it's not coming together quite like I want, or, you know, my vision is not being translated into the game. Because, I mean, we all have like ideas of what we kind of want to do, even though I mostly wing it. I have like a kind of idea when I start. Like, obviously I wanted to do a cottage. That was like already the plan. Sometimes that doesn't really translate when I try and build it in the game, and it doesn't come out quite like I wanted, or certain parts of it are a bit different. I feel like after a while though, they all start to kind of come together in their own, and I start to get into a groove. I've said this before, but it's kind of like a puzzle piece. It's like a puzzle piece that I only have the pieces to, or questions I only know the answer to, and I don't know, I feel like as I start building, things start to kind of come together. Again, as good as this looks, some of it will change. This is again because the move objects on. Yeah, I wanted a picket fence, and I thought, oh, a picket fence would be nice, but then I found it too busy with the amount of plants and trees and flowers I've used. The white picket fence just made it too much. So I scrapped that and added a tiny little, well, I don't know what that is, a small little front door gate, a front door little entrance. And I do put a step there again. I don't know if I have that in the video. I put the step there because then when I play tested, my sim couldn't get in the house. So yeah, you guys can delete that step if you want. Again, they fixed that glitch. So, but yeah, as things start to come together for me, it's kind of like a puzzle I only have the answers to. And ultimately, it starts to grow on me as I work on a property. It helps that I take about 500 years to make stuff. So there's that as well. This is a item from Romantic Garden Stuff, and that I don't use that pack enough because some of the stuff in that pack is as you can see, it's got like crazy colors. Like even here I wanted to use a bit of a more unusual color, but in the end I didn't. And so part of the reason I think I don't use it as much is because they use pretty zany colors on a lot of their plants and flowers, and I find them a little bit hard to use. Even on this build, I was considering using more garden stuff, and I'm using some here. I don't pick all the weird colors of it. Like they have like the thistle there. There's a thistle at the bottom that I just didn't pick, but you can see it there as I keep picking garden stuff. It's like neon colors and like bright blue, bright purple plants, and like I mean, I suppose it would be pretty useful in like a alienscape or something like that. And if you wanted to do a really funky like desert, like oasis build, you could probably use all those neon plants and stuff from a Romantic Garden Stuff. That would be pretty cool. Here we are landscaping the back garden. So when I landscape and stuff, I don't really have a plan. I just see where it moves me. Like I like to have little nooks, obviously, as I'm doing there. And I do have like little ideas here and there. This time I wanted to have like a hedge. I wanted a hedge, but I wanted the hedge to like have roses on it. Which is why I picked the rose bushes instead of the hedge. So as you can see, the fence I use at the back is slightly different to the fence at the front. I did that to tie into the little lattice flower things that I added, because the one that I added there is obviously like a darker wood, and the house uses mostly white wood. To tie all the colors in together, I used a fence that has the white slats with the beige trim. And yeah, that's just the kind of things I do sometimes. The kind of decisions I make in my head that I don't really explain out to anybody except when I rewatch it. So hopefully you guys find stuff like that interesting. If not, well, you've been in here for a heck of a time then. Thanks for watching. Again, I love this, I say again, but unless you've seen my other video, I use that tree in the craftsman thing and I love it, but it's a very hard plant to use in the game. There I picked it again to try and use it. It just doesn't necessarily go with a lot of the stuff. Now, I believe I changed that window in the end because I did have to alter the interior. So the window on the side, that you can't really see it right now, gets altered. And I believe these windows get altered too to a window that is a different height, but I actually can't remember. Add in a little path to the bird bath, even though you can't get to it because there's rocks all around it, but sometimes that happens when I'm landscaping the garden. For example, the wishing well, to try and make the wishing well look nicer, I will plant a lot of plants around it to make it look more natural and fit in with the setting. The problem with that is that it blocks off the wishing well, so the Sims can't use it. So there's a couple of builds I've made where I've put a wishing well in the back and then accidentally blocked it off. And so you don't know these things, or you don't notice until you playtest like super thoroughly. And because I don't have that much time, because as you can see, it takes me forever to build things, I don't always get all the bugs out of the things that I have built, unfortunately. And if there are bugs, I apologize. If there's things missing, again, I apologize. Nobody's perfect, guys. I just try my best. I just like to build things. And again, I'm very slow, so please bear with me. So we're coming to the end now. Obviously, I'll add some screenshots of the finished build at the very end. You'll be able to see it a lot better. I believe this is the end of the video. I'm spinning it around. Well, thanks so much for watching. I will have the build available in the gallery when part 2 goes live, and part 2 will go live on Sunday. Yeah, probably in the morning. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I have to find the mailbox and add it because I always forget the mailbox. But yeah, I have nothing more to say really. As I was saying, part 2 will be available on Sunday, and then the build will be available in the gallery. If you haven't seen my other videos, please check them out. If you like this, awesome. Please like, subscribe if you want, and if you don't, that's okay too. You know, I'll be alright. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful sim day. Oh, got to do the outdoor lighting now. I forgot about that part. It's always nice to have a good, nice mood lighting in the outdoors. Even though my Sims never go outdoors at night, I feel like it just is quite romantic looking to light up the outside of the house a little bit. Deciding on what things to use. There's a lot of lamps there. I kind of really wanted to use that wind thing, the light. That came with outdoor patio. I can't remember what it came with, but I just couldn't fit it in. It didn't quite look like English cottagey enough. It kind of looks a bit, you know, gaudy. Maybe in a different kind of build I can use something like that. So yeah, it's coming to the end. I really appreciate it if you've watched this far. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I will catch you next time. Please catch my next video coming to you soon. Bye guys.